Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 7th, and before I get into my daily forecast, I'd like to address a little bit of drama here going on across the Pacific Northwest from somebody I greatly respect in the weather community here. People watching this page have been posting on other blogs, which is fine, but it was brought to my attention that somebody called me an amateur there, and it was kind of reiterated by the person who runs that blog. And I wanted to point it out that I am a licensed professional. I've taught synoptic meteorology at colleges. I've trained professionals with regards to aviation weather for many years here. So I kind of took that to heart a little bit there. And apparently my responses and my ability to defend myself on that blog are not going through. So I thought I'd take a little time here on my page to address that. Anyway, if you guys want a nice, affordable home weather station, all solar powered wireless, click on the link down below for 10% off. I can't recommend the station enough. And you can see all the stations across North America here and down into Mexico. There's even a couple in Bermuda there. So yeah, these work in smart integration. The more stations there are, the better they work together out there. So click on that link down below if you want one. Now, taking a look at the National Weather Service Seattle, they got the special weather statement still out, and this is due to the elevated fire conditions again. We've got the low relative humidities out there. At least the winds aren't too bad today, but watch out for those fire starts. This is Western Washington, Seattle National Weather Service, talking about 88 for Olympia, mid 80s for Seattle. Nice warm day coming up here all the way up towards the Canadian border into southwest BC as well. Look at Chehalis checking in at 87. This is Portland. 90 today, 82, then cooling down as you see by the time we get to Friday, but we may start to bounce those temperatures back here as we go through the weekend. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment. This is Eastern Washington, Moses Lake 90, and then 90 on in for tomorrow here. So watch out for those warm temperatures out there. Probably some dust devils flying around out there when the cloud breaks out there also. I was out chasing yesterday. Check out my video if you get a chance. This is the severe weather outlook for Wednesday, and this includes some of the Cascades. You can see Crater Lake, Burns, Oregon into Northern California and Nevada. Likely time frame 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. coming up here. This is on in through Eastern Oregon, clipping Eastern Washington, most of Idaho, and some of Southwest Montana as well. Late this morning through this evening here. This is Wednesday, June 7th again here. This is looking wet Thursday and Friday. Western Montana, north central Idaho. You can't rule out some flooding here with this thunderstorms kind of training over the area, especially across the burn scar areas and even the urban landscapes, the higher terrain as well. This is the flooding potential, and you can kind of see that they do have this slight risk of some enhanced rainfall. It does include Great Falls, Helena, Missoula, and Wallace out there, even Salmon, Idaho. So, and watch out for that. You know, some of this flooding can be quite nuisance, but it can be pretty severe as well in localized areas. This is percent of average precipitation for the state of Washington. Look at this. This is May 8th through June 6th. Look at some of the areas are less than 5% their normal precipitation here for the last 30 days. Pretty incredible. You can see some of the higher elevation in northeast Washington might be above average here, but most of the state well below average. This is average max temperature from departure for the last 30 days as well. A little bit of a bullseye up towards Anacortes here, but much of the state well above average. This is for Oregon, and you can see, look at this, you're below 25% across much of western Oregon here. A little bit of the Cascades maybe above average here in some of southeast Oregon there, which doesn't get too much precipitation, so it's not hard to skew some of those numbers. And this is average max temperature departure. This goes through May 8th through June 6th there, and you can see much of the state well above average temperatures. This is just a reminder, I've showed this the last couple of days, significant wildland fire potential outlook for July, August, and September. We are going to be above average here, folks. So just a reminder, just to do your best here not to cause any fire starts if you can avoid it. This is looking at SeaTac yesterday, 82, 13 degrees above that average high at 69. As of June 7th, we are now at the average high for this time of year is 70 degrees. So some really nice weather here across the Pacific Northwest. You can see by the time we get to the end of June, we're averaging 74, but we should be well above that, probably 15 degrees or so above the average height today, but we're not looking at any precipitation today or tomorrow. Maybe a little bit trying to sneak in on Friday. We'll look at the models here in a moment. This is day one, severe thunderstorm outlook across Idaho, Oregon, into Northern California again. Day two, something similar. And day three, kind of a general thunderstorm threat. Cascades east, Oregon, Washington. This would include eastern BC as well. Here we're looking at the NAM 3KM. This is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. This is what the Doppler radar may look like as we go through the day today. You can see some of these storms moving up across Idaho, southeast Oregon here. And then they kind of wane as you go into some of the overnight hours, but then they pop up again quickly in the morning. As you can see, some of this moisture streaming across Idaho here. You're going to watch out for some of that flooding potential across the higher terrain. Some strong to severe storms could move up through eastern Washington as well. As you can see that afternoon time period here. And you can see some of this moisture try to make its way towards the Cascades and even out over western Washington, southwest BC here as we go on in through the day Friday. So we're going to cool down a bit Friday. This cloud cover is going to help with that as well. But it's not showing too much in the way of convection here getting west of the Cascades. Mainly Cascades eastbound on that threat here. But you can't rule out a lightning strike getting out towards the foothills. We'll watch that again tomorrow closely. This is looking at 850 millibars, about 5,000 feet. Here's Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon, Pacific Ocean here, Aleutian Islands. Put it into motion, and you can see we get a little bit of a reprieve as we go through tomorrow, but not much of one. And then you can see those above average temperatures aloft include a lot of the Pacific Northwest as we go on in through the later portion of the week and into early next week. This is looking at 10-day precipitation anomaly on the European of yesterday afternoon. Generally east of the Cascades, a little bit above average for some areas, but the big signal here is Cascades west, and we're already pretty dry here this time of year, especially across western BC, and you can see the big precipitation deficit all the way up the west coast here. This goes 240 hours out there on the European. This is the National Blend of Models daily temperature today. Look at that, upper 80s possible for some of the Puget Sound, up towards 90 here for Portland. Go through tomorrow, and we get a bit of a cool down, but still a fairly warm day here west of the Cascades, even downright hot here east of the Cascades for June. We go Friday, we cool down even more, back down towards normal here for Seattle, for example. Saturday, start to bounce those temperatures back there. Look at Sunday, warming back up towards 80 for Seattle, mid-80s for Portland, and quite warm across some of eastern Washington and Oregon and the Valley of Idaho there. And we go out in the future a little bit more. Monday, another very warm day. Then we start to back down a little bit here towards the average as we go through next week. But we'll watch that. It's clearly fantasy at this point, trying to predict those temperatures with that much confidence. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook here across Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana all the way through June 16th. This would be the precipitation outlook here. The Intermountain West kind of bullseye here. A little bit of a signal here across some of Washington for below average here. A little bit at odds with some of what the European was showing here. It shows a little bit below normal here, a little bit more so than what's shown here. This is looking at the June 1st European forecast, the El Nino plumes, and you can see virtually every single ensemble was above the moderate line there. The strong El Nino is here, so you're looking at 75-80% of the ensembles are calling for a strong El Nino. We could potentially even be looking at a very strong El Nino event here coming up. So we'll watch that as we go through the months coming up here. This is looking at, I think this was issued Monday, a couple days ago, and you can see Nino 3.4. Look at that. We're at 0.8. We are definitely warming up there across the equatorial Pacific. But to be officially considered El Nino, you got to remain in those conditions for 3 months. And you can see where Nino 3.4 lies there across the equatorial Pacific, 5 north and south latitude there. There's the Hawaiian Islands. There's Australia, South America, and Mexico here. Now, taking a look at this as a CFS kind of showing us moving into that potentially strong El Nino here as well. I know I've showed this here for the last few weeks. We'll just keep watching it as we go. But you can see that impressive warm tongue there across the equatorial Pacific as we go out towards November, December, and January shown there. But anyway, yeah. Hope you guys are liking these videos out there. You know, if you guys have any like personal questions you want to ask me, be able to do a live stream and try to clear up some of that misinformation that's been going out there around apparently here. But anyway, yeah, so what next? I mean, hopefully we can get a little bit of precipitation coming out of the southeast or maybe into western Washington, but it doesn't look like much, as it looks like we're going to remain abnormally dry here. So anyway, enjoy that weather while you can out there. Try to get out to the water, and yeah, leave some pictures for me on Twitter if you guys see any big dust devils out there across eastern Washington. I've seen some of the comments coming in there about people seeing those. Might be a little bit suppressed today with some of this cloud activity over the area, but check out my dust devil video that I released last night if you like watching those. But anyway, yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.